The premise goes like this. John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table. But before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes. Let's dig deeper into the story and what sequences I like the most. I have a weak spot for samurai movies, and the Osaka Continental offers just that. Brilliant choreography for each character, good guys like bad guys. With Hiroyuki Sanada being as brilliant as ever. Also showing off Donnie Yen's retired blind assassin. It's always nice to see a new Continental, and this one sure felt special. You notice what friendship John Wick and Shimazu Koji had. The action sequence was great. But my favorite city and action sequences are found in Paris. It has the biggest importance to the story, it brought so many memorable moments. It shows why Keanu Reeves was in his right to lead this franchise. Paris is also the city where Marquis Vincent de Gramont is located, and he becomes the highest-ranking member of the High Table during this film. Bill Skarsgård holds one of the strongest performances in the film as the Marquis. Keanu Reeves holds the best though, maybe not the best dramatic performance but certainly overall performance, as he does his own stunts alongside everything else, and the stunts are incredible. Donnie Yen was great and possibly even one of the best things of the movie, both his knowledge in martial arts but also his character, which I loved. The performance that surprised me was Shamir Anderson as the mysterious bounty hunter. It's a great character that they could do so much with, and I can easily say the same for Donnie Yen and Hiroyuki Sanada's characters. One of the final action sequences was all in one take, except for a quick cut before moving back to the one take. It was shot with a camera above, letting us see everything happening from above and moving with John Wick as he fires inside an abandoned building. Chad Stahelski truly directed an action film that'll be remembered for decades. His direction in both the action and more dramatic scenes are all brilliant. There's so many fight sequences in this film, small like big, all directed and shot brilliantly. The screenplay was done by Shay Hatten and Michael Finch. I don't have any problem with it, it's good, and for a Wick film it holds the same quality. The movies aren't about the best writing in Hollywood, it's about what happens on the screen, blood being spilled. Tyler Bates and Joel J. Richard returned to compose the score for the film, after doing so for the previous 3 films. Like Shay Hatten had done too. I have read various critics and some people complaining about the length. Chapter 4 has a runtime of 169 minutes. It's long, full of beautiful looking shots that do nothing to the story, only to create atmosphere and suspense where it succeeds. There are scenes that you could easily trim, yes, but I still found the length to be perfect. I want to see the 3-hour 49-minute version just because of how great the film was, but the theatrical version is magnificent. Chapter 4 is all about tying up loose ends, to finally find peace and freedom. It's a long road to that point. Chad uses the film's length for just that, to tell a bigger and deeper story than a simple story. More run time also means more action sequences. This might be the best film of the 4, both action and drama, also most beautiful in regards of the camera work and cinematography. Dan Laustsen truly knows his craft, making each scene absolutely mesmerizing to look at. I loved every second of it. When I saw it at the cinema, a woman, a mother, sat beside the person I was there with and said how brutal it was. She was 5 minutes in and the first action scene had only just started. Jokes aside, John Wick, Chapter 4 has some of the franchise's best action sequences and Keanu Reeves at his best. Like his role in The Matrix, John Baba Yaga, Wick will be another role he'll be remembered for. This was an incredible film, one of the best I've seen in a while. That lasted 169 minutes. I had no idea. The time just flew right by. Chad Stahelski does not pull any punches or engage the safety at any time in this gun fu epic. Combat scenes are not moments so much as they are entire acts. The amount of stunt choreography that everybody had to synchronize to was rather incredible, and they continue to find more ways to entertain us with kills, kill types, use of weapons, locations, teamwork, etc. I caught myself smiling for minutes on end several times while watching it. Of course though, as I said, they really lean into it. I'm sure this has been true of previous films as well, but it is very apparent that John Wick should virtually die in every scene that he is in. Whether it is how he is attacked or how they fail to attack him at the right times, he goes at every foe like the bear in The Revenant with full adrenaline and no signs of slowing down no matter what he is hit by. And again, I think if you look hard enough you will find enemies who have clear shots and choose not to take them because of plot armor, but you can forgive it enough if you're rewarded with a longer take or overall longer action sequence. What I really loved was how many of these scenes took place at night with dazzlingly lit environments all around, and the music in every scene kicks as much *** as what you see on screen. I had pondered over why John Wick doesn't have a video game yet, but if they ever make one I have decided I'd like one of those top-down shooter games, similar to the Hong Kong Massacre, and if not maybe like the GTA, SAW MP Rampage style. I acknowledge this franchise for what it is now, but I still pine for some of the missing components that I don't know if it'll ever be able to bring back. After watching John Wick, fun as it was, I found myself interested in seeing a prequel when he was the Baba Yaga in his prime, taking missions rather than being hunted. Even still, at least in that movie he was absolutely feared. In Chapter 2, I still found him heavily respected, but it was in that movie that I realized there would probably be a repetitive formula to the narrative and movie action structure which still has yet to break. In Chapter 3, there only lived assassins and they would go after him without hesitation, which was not how I felt the world breathed the first time around. They continue down this path in Chapter 4, while opening the universe more to different characters breeding their own kind of loyalty. They are all insanely fun to watch, and you see the cogwheels of the John Wick universe spinning with the future Continental television show and the Ballerina movie spin-off. Where they remain faulty though is even with the existence of civilians during fight scenes, they act as droning NPCs like nothing is happening around them, or they aren't there whatsoever. It is clear that this is not our world that this movie takes place in, but rather a parallel one. I mentioned the introduction of new characters in this world, and you can't not bring up Donnie Yen when talking about them. He steals each and every scene that he is in, and it's crazy because you wonder how a character like his could thrive in such a world, but you absolutely believe it when you watch it. I will absolutely take more of him and Rina Sawayama. She isn't featured as much, but she makes use of every second that she is in front of the camera. There are plenty of others, such as the great Hiroyuki Sanada, but the point remains that Wick is relegated to this greater universe with characters who good, bad, or for themselves are ones we can actually root for in any fight. Keanu Reeves is understandably less nimble at his age than the others, and it's either bad acting or he really has taken on this John Wick role in his line delivery to hilarious new heights, but he and Stahelski have found a groove that still makes him the most impenetrable force around, to the point that I go back and watch the action scenes in The Matrix Resurrections and wonder what happened there. I didn't love one particular character in their big fighting moments, but they go for versatility and I have to give them that much. March has had an incredible run of theatrical films, and John Wick, Chapter 4 is no different. You will lean forward during the action, which there is plenty of, and if I'm one to go off of you will not feel the runtime. There is an end credits scene as well if you're able to stay for a moment longer. I would love to go back and see this one again. John Wick series have always been over-the-top action thriller joyrides more focused on dazzling you with visceral, expertly choreographed action sequences than trying to tell the most coherent stories about stylish assassins. Director Chad Stahelski's John Wick, Chapter 4 is no exception. And it abundantly delivers on the franchise's hallmarks: snazzy guns, lovable dogs, and one very haggard man in black. John Wick, Chapter 4 isn't a movie you casually sit down to watch apropos of nothing. It's a commitment, both in terms of how long it is and in how invested you really have to be in the idea of John Wick for the film to be engaging. To its credit, John Wick, Chapter 4 does an admirable job of leaving open possibilities for a future filled with stories of some of the movie's new supporting characters. It comes as a pleasant surprise given how much time this story spends trying to remind you that Wick is the baddest man in town. It's a movie that's meant to be watched loud and big. Remember, John Wick has fought hard for it.